Hello everyone, this is our lecture number 6 and today we are going to discuss about electronic specific heat, the electronic contribution to specific heat. So this is your unit 2 quantum statistics, BCU second semester MSc physics. So this one slightly I have taken a different derivation, so it's not really according to your textbook. So I have used direction from some NPTEL videos. So I already sent the link for you for NPTEL videos, so you can also see those videos, or you can also see this. So it is the same explanation. I have taken the derivation that they have used. So you can either follow, if you're able to follow what is in the textbook, you can follow that, or you can follow this derivation. So both are the same. Okay, so from the classical model or the Drude model, we know that electronic specific heat. So the specific heat has, there are different specific heat. So specific heat due to the lattice vibrations also, and specific heat due to electronic component. This together adds up to give your specific heat of the gas. So from the classical model, so we are concerned right now about only the electronic specific heat. So from the Drude model, using Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics, so this is the value obtained for electronic specific heat. But what they have used for arriving this is, the main thing they have used Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics, or using ideal gas. And what is the basic this one for that is, basic idea is that the particles do not interact with each other. So using that, they have derived this formula. But there are some kind of lackings in this formula. So because of that, they have developed something called the Drude-Sommerfeld model, so which takes care of the limitations for this formula. Okay, so now what we are going to do is, we are going to find out how we can take care of this formula using Fermi-Dirac statistics, or using the Drude-Sommerfeld model. So in using Fermi-Dirac statistics, how this formula will be modified, that's what we are going to see in this derivation. So you already know this figure. So we have got the Fermi function on y-axis, and energy on the x-axis, and at temperature T is equal to 0, the Fermi function, it falls down at EF, Fermi energy. And the density of states, the plot can be derived something like this. I mean, it can be plotted something in this manner. And this is density of occupancy. This plot is against the density of occupancy, or NE, density of occupancy. And so this falls down at T is equal to 0, it follows the same profile, and it falls down at sharply at EF, and as we have seen in the previous lectures. And at a temperature T1 that is greater than T0, so it has a more smooth fall towards zero energy. And and this temperature is greater than T0 at some temperature. And so this density of occupancy is nothing but probability. This Fermi function gives a probability of occupancy, and this is the density of states. So if you multiply density of states with the probability of occupancy, you get the density of occupancy. So FED, and twice this 2 is for the spin, taking into consideration the spin of the electron. Okay. Now we already know that our density of states is given by V by 2 pi cube. This d cube k here represents just a volume element in k space, nothing but dkx, dky, dkz. This is one, any specific volume given by these coordinates is given by this d cube k. Now if you want to find the number of translational states, rho k dk, for which k is such that magnitude k lies in the range between k and k plus dk. So if I want to find in a certain number of states in a fixed volume inside k space, so again I am going to take a sphere. So this is your k space. So then I am just going to take a sphere here. So if I take a sphere like this, and I want to find the number of states that are occupied in this area. So what are the available states for me in this region? So this is nothing but the volume of a thin spherical shell. So the volume of a thin, so if this is K, this is K, and this portion is your dk, and what is this is K plus dk. So this is what we can obtain this equation. This numbering, as I said, is just according to some portion of your textbook, so you can refer that equation. Or you can put your own equation numbers, that's up to you. So this is obtained by summing over all values of K in this range, and so, or we can write that it is the volume of this thin spherical shell. So rho K dk is equal to density of states multiplied by this volume. So this volume element I am taking as this is the volume element that I have right now, that is the volume of a thin spherical shell. So it is given by 4 pi K square dk, and now when I simplify this, I can get this value, that is V by 2 pi square K square dk. So your density of states your density of states for this this volume element dk I can get using this formula. Now before, in that previous lecture, we saw that energy depends on K, or the modulus of K, the magnitude of K. So because we already know that E is equal to h cut square K square by 2m. So E is directly proportional to K. So this gives immediately corresponding to this range of K. So we found rho K dk, rho K dk. This will even give us rho E dE. So because it is directly proportional, so K gives you directly the value of energy. So rho, I am going to write rho E dE is equal to rho K dk, and if I just multiply dk by dE multiplied by d, so dk by dE multiplied by d, so that is, I am just multiplying and dividing by d. So I take a magnitude of this like this. Okay, you keep this here, and then you have our equation. From this, K square is equal to 2me by h cut square, and I am just differentiating with respect to E. So 2 dk by dE is equal to 2m by h cut square. So these two things I substitute it here, then you will get this. So you try it out by yourself. Just this one and this one I am substituting here. So I get this value. Okay, so for the density of states or energy states, I am getting this value. Now the total number of states available up to any energy E. So this is just in that dk proportional to dE. Okay, so this is the number of states that I have got in that specific volume. But now I want to find any up to any energy, then what do? I just integrate this formula up to energy E. So rho E dE, I am integrating from 0 to E. Then when I integrate this equation, I get this. So this is given as the total number of states available up to any energy E, and this is your density of states. Okay. Now another thing about this is that now we are going to see, so we have to find out the specific heat. So so by rising the temperature a little bit of our system, if we have a system consisting of some particles, if you have a metal consisting of electrons, so if you raise the temperature, from that we can find out the specific heat. So what we have to know that is that if you have our metal and then you have our EF here, so when you raise the temperature, which electrons can take participation in this process? So when you raise the temperature, all these states below the EF, they are completely filled. So rising the temperature will not affect these electrons, but only those electrons that are near the EF, they can jump into higher energy levels. But these electrons are not able to move. Even if they move, they are just can move only to the next state, but it will not, since they are fully bound, they cannot do anything. So these electrons that are near the Fermi surface can take part in the process of raising the temperature. So when you raise the temperature, it is due to the movement of these that you see that the temperature is raised. Okay. Okay. So at 0 Kelvin, you already know that this is EF is the maximum energy level that is filled up by the electrons. So after this, you run out of electrons, you have no more electrons. Okay, so this is the concept. So now what we have to do is we already know the density of states for any energy E. So I just want to find out, we don't need the information about these electrons, but we only need the information about the electrons that are present near the Fermi energy F. So we already have density of states for any energy E. So I'm just going to write now the density of states for the electrons that are here, or the Fermi energy that is here. Okay. So now I can write density of occupied states very close to EF, and that is given by, just I am using a subscript. So D sub EF is equal to 4V by 4 pi square 2m by h cut square whole raised to 3 by 2 e raised to half. So this is just around the Fermi level, so just below. So above this is empty, the band gap, but then just below the Fermi level, what is the density of states that is given by this formula. So the total number of states available up to this energy, already we saw that this is our density of states. So total number of states just around this place is given by this formula. Just I am using subscript F. Okay. Now if I take the ratio of these two, values, then it will be 6 pi square by 4 pi square. This will get cancelled, and 1 EF is remaining. So 3 by 2 into 1 by EF. So now I can write density of states around the Fermi energy level is given by 3 by 2 by EF into number of states that are occupied. So but we also know that number of states that are occupied will be equal to the number of electrons that are available, because of the Pauli's exclusion principle, and also because of the fact that at t is equal to 0, up to that level only it is filled. So this number of occupied states, I can replace it as the number of electrons that are available, free electrons that are available near the Fermi surface. Okay, so this is our formula for density of states near the Fermi energy. Now let's go back to the diagram or plot. So we have the total number of occupied states, and this is our energy E, and this is our EF. So all states are occupied up to EF. Only states or electrons near EF can participate in the temperature rising. So only this place that electrons can participate in the rising of the temperature. So on a per particle basis, or on per electron, kBT is the amount of energy that is provided to the system, and only those electrons near Fermi level can gain that kBT. So this is the energy packet that is given to the electron, and how only those electrons that are near the Fermi energy can gain this kBT. So only electrons within kBT of EF can gain energy when temperature is raised to the next temperature, that is T. So the total number of electrons that can participate in this process is the density of electrons available per unit energy, or you just multiply by kBT. So we have our formula, that is the density of states. I am just multiplying by 3 by 2, 3 by 2 kBT. Okay. Okay. So this is the number of electrons. So from this what we have found is the number of electrons that can participate in the process of rising of temperature. Now so this is that, and now what we have to find? We have to find the energy of the so gain in energy by rise of temperature. If you want to find out the gain in energy by rise of temperature, so for an electron, we already know that how much energy is given by ideal gas behavior. By ideal gas behavior, for an electron, this is the amount of energy that is given to an electron by the ideal gas behavior. So to find the gain in energy by raise of the temperature T, so you have the number of electrons that can participate this much. So you multiply by that 3 by 2 kBT. So when you multiply the number of electrons by the 3 by 2 kBT, then you have this. This is your formula for rise in energy. Now it is easy to find the specific heat. So you differentiate it with respect to temperature. So this is given by CVE. CVE means specific heat due to the electrons is given by 9/2 NF by EF kb square T. So when you differentiate, this T square becomes T. Okay. Now this is only the electronic contribution. Now another thing is that if there is a Fermi, if there is an energy level that can be related to temperature by this relation kBT. So this is the relation for an energy level by using kBT. So if at Fermi energy, EF is equal to kBTF. So this TF or Fermi temperature TF can be written by EF by kB. So I can EF by kB or kB by EF I can substitute here. So when I substitute for kB by EF with the TF, so this is the Fermi temperature. So I am just substituting by in this equation. So I get a term T by TF. This is the temperature at which the material is at, and or you have raised, and this is your Fermi temperature. So by using the Drude-Sommerfeld model, you have got this equation for electronic contribution of specific heat. By our classical theory or Drude model, this is the electronic contribution of specific heat. So yeah. So now another thing is that this electronic specific heat becomes only important at very low temperatures, below 10 degree Kelvin or between 0 to 1 degree Kelvin. So it can be found only during low temperature measurements. Now so now what is the problem with this classical theory? This formula is that it shows the result using this formula is larger than what is experimentally observed by 2 orders of magnitude. So experimentally we are observing some value of electronic specific heat, but using this formula it is showing 2 times 2, or if it is supposed to be 1, but it is showing 100. So by 2 orders of magnitude it is increased using this formula. So if you compare these 2 equations, you have, this is your using Fermi-Dirac statistics or quantum mechanically, or this is using the classical model. So using this one, these are the 2 formulas. So now if we have to show that this this formula reduces by 2 orders of magnitude. So if you look at T by TF, so this all these things to appear, these both are almost the similar things inside both equations, but only difference is this one. So how does it take away this 2 orders of magnitude? That's what we are going to see. So if you see that if you take the T by TF, so experimentally this Fermi temperature has to been found to about 20,000 Kelvin. So I'll explain to you how it is that is taken to be so high. And if our temperature is raising, if you're raising the temperature to about 300 Kelvin, this is the room temperature. So when you divide these two, so this is 10 raised to 2 and this is 10 raised to 4. So you have a factor of 10 raised to minus 2. So because now we have reduced, so because this is in our new equation, so we have reduced the classical value by 2 orders of magnitude. So then this proves that this is coinciding with the experimental observation. So this because of this matter, so the Drude-Sommerfeld theory has been verified experimentally by taking the number of electrons near the Fermi level. So in the classical model, nobody took that there is a Fermi energy and then only those electrons can participate like that. But in the Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics, it is a sea of electrons, so anybody can participate. So that is why the difference, this term does not show up. Now this about this 20,000 Kelvin, this does not mean that the whole material is at 20,000 Kelvin. So but it is so it just means that a certain electron or certain part of the electrons in this Fermi level, near the Fermi level, not all the electrons or not the whole material is at 20,000 Kelvin. This is a very high temperature, but certain electrons have very high energy. Just a portion of the electrons have very high energy. that energy translates to this temperature. So that is the meaning of that. It's just not, but on an average it is at 0 Kelvin, or the system is at room temperature, but there are certain electrons with very high energy that translates to this 20,000 Kelvin. So if you measure experimentally, this TF is found to be this value, and when you look at these terms you find that these values are experimentally correct. Okay, and also specific heat is not temperature independent as it was shown classically. So in classical term it is temperature independent, but after deriving this formula we found that it is dependent on temperature. Okay. Yeah, so now as I said before, this, because it is temperature dependent, so I am writing CV, the specific heat electronic electronic specific heat is equal to a constant times temperature, so where gamma is called the constant of proportionality. So at room temperature, CV is completely masked by much larger specific heat CVL. What is the CVL? Is due to lattice vibration. So at room temperature, this electronic specific heat component does not play a part, because the lattice, because of room temperature, higher temperature, the lattice vibrates. Because of that, this electronic component of the specific heat is completely masked. But at very low temperatures, this lattice, the specific heat due to lattice vibration, because this is equal to proportional to T cubed. So this approaches 0 much faster than electronic contribution, which is only proportional to T. So at lower temperatures, this becomes more dominant. So at low temperatures, this total specific heat can be written as electronic specific heat plus the lattice specific heat, so or gamma T plus A T cube. So when you divide by T, temperature T, so you get gamma plus AT square. So this shows a straight line curve with a cut on the y-axis at gamma. So this line has been straight line. This good straight line has been experimentally observed. So showing us that our formula is correct. Okay. So this much for this electronic specific heat. Thank you.